Okay, so I want to start just with saying that you are your best friend. And the reason why I say that because I was never a person to have a lot of friends. I was never a person to have people be as loyal to me as I was to them. And that was my reason for not really wanting friends, because it was difficult to really have so-called friends that was as loyal to me as I was to them. And this saying said, well, when you do something for people, don't, you shouldn't expect anything back. Well, if that's the case, I'll just give to charity. If that's the case, I will give to somebody that I might see in need, and I might want to give them some money if I see somebody in need. I don't need to have a friend around me, or somebody who call himself a friend, or as in some people cases, family. I don't need somebody who I'm constantly giving to, and they ain't giving back, and I'm told that I shouldn't expect nothing, well, then they don't need to be around me. I can give to charity. That's what I'll do. Okay? Because when I give to charity, I don't expect anything back. If I give to somebody that appears to be in need, I don't expect to give nothing back. But you somebody who's constantly always needy but can never reciprocate, that's a person who's feeding off of you. That's a doggone vampire. Everybody's a vampire, honestly, but some people are a little worse than others. Okay, but here's the point I want to get to so I don't go too long. And so I talked about you being the best friend, your best friend. I find that when I have had friends, and including family, even family I tried to talk to about my family and how evil my family were, and some of the friends I try to talk to about how evil my family were. And when I say evil, I really mean evil. I like they really. I've said this time and time again before. This is beyond a dysfunctional family. This is beyond dysfunctional. This is people who are after your neck type of evil. Okay, that's the kind of evil I'm talking about. They don't. They trying to keep you from waking up the next day. That's the kind of evil I'm talking about. Okay, this ain't no just some dysfunctional stuff. And so, when I found myself not being able to have a conversation with anybody. I found myself not really being able to have a conversation with nobody. Now I was able to have a conversation with a couple of people, but that's because they were in the occult. Okay, and unfortunately, those people don't come free because I didn't have those kind of friends, right? And so those kind of people don't come free. And I didn't have a bunch of money to keep paying folks. Okay, I had to learn to talk to myself. I had to learn to talk to myself. I had to learn to give myself wisdom, because the folks, family, and all those other folks that used to be around me, I couldn't have that kind of conversation with them. They didn't even have the right answer. They couldn't even talk. They couldn't even carry on a conversation about what I was talking about. So that's when I kind of got used to being alone, because what's the point of having a bunch of folks around you when you really, really going through some things and you can't even have a conversation with them because they don't get it. They don't really understand it. And so it's almost like you're beating your head up against the wall. And so I learned to talk to myself, because I didn't have the money to keep paying other folks who knew very well what my situation was, but I didn't have those kind of friends previously. So when I saw those kind of people, I had to give them money. Okay? And so that's when I got to the point where finally I just really don't want friends. Now, it's definitely good to have maybe associates, somebody you can call every once in a while. But other than that, I got to the point where I didn't really want to deal with friends. And then I found out how people were. People just can't be trusted. In a lot of ways, you can barely be trusted. It's hard to 100% trust yourself, because most of us still operate in our egos, in our mind. Okay, we still let our mind run things, and so that's why I say most of us can't even trust ourselves. So we definitely can't put no trust in other people, and that's another thing. Okay, like say people who were sold out by their families. Never thought. They thought they loved their family. They thought they had a close family. Next thing you know, these folks come up missing, and then you find out later on it's their family that sold them off to the devil for some money. So somebody can take these people organs, mostly melanated people, so their organs can be taken for their families to get money. But they thought they had a loving family. They thought they had good friends, and they found out somebody sold them for trinkets. And they lost their organs. They dead somewhere, laying around all cut up, because they thought they had a loving family. They thought they had good friends. Okay? And I don't want to make it seem like there's no such thing as a good friend, though. I don't want to make it seem like there's no such thing as a good friend. I don't want to make it seem like there's no such thing as family. My point in saying this, though, is that you are your best friend. You are your best friend. When I say you, I'm not talking about your ego. I'm talking about your true self that does not have shape or form. Your true self is everywhere. You notice if you travel around the world, you discover more about yourself. It's because you are everywhere. Your true self is everywhere in the world. You know, God is in the details. You heard somebody say that. Oprah said that God is in the details. You are everywhere. You are in the flowers. You are in the trees. You are in Europe. You're in Israel. You are in Africa. You are everywhere because you don't have your true self don't have shape or form. And so, you know, at times, if you ever talk to yourself before, if you have, even like if you feel funny, just you don't know how to have a conversation with yourself because you never done it before. And so it's hard to talk to yourself like you're talking to other people. Just hit record. Get a recorder, push record, and act like you're talking to somebody, but you know you're really talking to yourself, but act like you're talking to somebody else. And I guarantee you, the answer in whatever you were questioning, the answer comes to you. Why? Because a more wise version of yourself, because you're multidimensional, right? So a wiser version of yourself gives you the answer. When you talk to yourself, most of the time, if not all the time, the answer comes right back to you. But that's not so much when you talk to your so-called friends now, is it? Sometimes when you talk to your so-called friends, they give you some of the worst advice. Sometimes they give you bad advice because that's as much as they know, and they can't give you any wisdom above what they actually have, right? And some people tell you lies and give you messed up advice on purpose because they don't want to see you do well. And this is with a lot of family. So then why have so many people around you when you know this is the case? When you know this is the case, why have so many people around you? Especially when everybody's flawed. We're all flawed. Why have so many flawed people in your space? That only brings you down. Most of the thoughts that you have have come from other people. Most of the thoughts that you have come from other people. It comes from growing up. It comes from the thoughts and the feelings that your parents might have projected on you, that your family might have projected on you, that it comes from your hanging with friends. It comes from going to school. And just maybe if you live in a bigger type of city, it comes from media, with the programming. Most of the thoughts that's in you, including your dreams, your desires, comes from something that is not necessarily you. It comes from something that's, even if you want to be an actress, it comes from something that's outside. It comes from something that's outside of you. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. That most of your thoughts don't come from you. And that's why I say you are the best friend. You are your best friend. You are your best friend. That's not to say be a loner and never want to be around people and just be all, because I know people look at folks who are by themselves as, oh, you're lonely. People like to say, I never liked this. I'm going to be honest with you. This saying that, and for some reason, so-called black women, I'm going to stay away from race, but I want to say this real quick. I see a lot of people saying so-called black women are going to die alone. You know how many women that are single besides so-called black women? But why is it that so-called black women have to be the only group of women that's paired up with a man, but you have other groups of women that's single and nobody really shames them? That's why I stay away from a lot of content. I stay away from a lot of content now because of the particular times that we're in. I don't want to take in too many other suggestions from other sources, other media sources, other people. I don't want to take in too many different suggestions, right? And so I have been taking my attention away from a lot of commentary, and I've been stopped watching TV, but even on YouTube I've taken my attention away from a whole lot of commentary, right? And just concentrating more on what I want, what I want, okay? Not necessarily what I want, but yeah, what I want in order for me to be able to concentrate on myself more. So get to a point where I can concentrate on myself more, you know, not so much into a whole lot of materialism, but if that's what somebody else like, that's okay too. That's their right. But for me, I want more time to concentrate on myself because there's a lot more to learn. And if I'm real busy doing other things to make ends meet, right? Or if I'm just busy, period, and then there's less and less time to really concentrate on getting to know my true self, right? So yeah, so that's why I stay away from a lot of commentary on YouTube, because that's somebody else's extra thoughts that's going into my mind, and I don't need any more of that. And this time we don't. Me personally, I don't need extra suggestions and extra thoughts going into that, especially if they don't do me any good. They don't do me any good. I won't listen to it, because this is not a time to bring in stuff into my mind that does not even serve my highest good. Okay? No matter what it is. No matter what it is. But I'm going to end this because I have to go with you are your best friend. And I just said to say that sometimes, yeah, wisdom can come from other people around you. But, I had to learn to I've always been comfortable being with myself, but by myself. But I always felt like something was wrong with me, because I thought I was a little too comfortable not being around people a lot. Like I always go on vacation by myself. If I go to a different country, I'm by myself. If I go to a restaurant, I was by myself. Go to the movies by myself. Never called anybody to join me. It was a time when I used to hang around friends. But what happened was I learned to be by myself, because people either stood me up, or they canceled when I was going to. One time I was going out to another country, um and this person kind of canceled on me 2 weeks before it was time to go. And so that was where I started my solo traveling journey, right? And ever since then I just really haven't had a desire to hang with other people when I go traveling, you know. And even going out to restaurants and stuff like that, or to the movies, I used to, when I would go visit family. I haven't visited family in a while because of how my family turned out to be, you know. So I haven't been around them in a while, and I won't be around them, but so I had to learn that family is not even real. Family is not real. And I don't, when I say family is not real, that's not said out of bitterness. Family is kind of a setup. It's a setup to kind of it is a setup to keep you from getting to know your true self, which is I call God. Now I call God. You don't have to say God, but is keeping you from getting to know your true self. The reason why is because most of us have always tried to please our family, make our family happy. We would try to do things that our family want, like say if it's a job, it's a career, or whatever else it is. You would try to do things to make your family happy, and a lot of times you would avoid yourself. You would neglect yourself in order to make family happy, in order to keep family from judging you. You would neglect the things that you should be doing for yourself a lot, right? And that's why I say sometimes family is a trick. Okay, it's a trick, right? But anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm on that note when I say you were your best friend, but anyway, I'll talk later.